It's a similar script for MSU on Saturday, as we've seen them many times go up big on a team, let the team back in. This time, like last weekend, MSU was able to eke out a win against Purdue 45-31, but that score was not quite an indicator of just how close that game was. I'm Geoff Preston.
I'm Robert Bondy.
And we saw again last week, Robert, it happened in Oregon. It happened last weekend here, right behind us at Spartan Stadium against Nebraska. MSU went up pretty big on Purdue, and then they just kind of let the Boilermakers, eke their way back into the game. And before you knew it, they were only up by 7 with plenty of time left for Purdue to tie it up.
Yeah, they really did. Looking at that game, really Michigan State kind of same script as last week, as you kind of already talked about with Nebraska's. They had the chance to put that final punch in, put them away, take Purdue out of the game. Connor Cook, Michigan State offense was driving in the Purdue red zone, and they threw that interception. That really, started a snowball effect. Purdue scores there. Purdue had to stop. Michigan State, I don't know why they did it. Did a fake punt inside their own territory. Next thing you know, Purdue scores again. It's a one-touchdown game. So, it was a game that, Michigan State felt like they controlled most of the way. Mm-hmm. But yet again, they let them back in. Darian Harris comes up big with that interception for a touchdown to, kind of clinch the win. But yet again, that defense had to get a stop down the stretch that, probably really didn't need to if you really talk about the game early on. So it was a little frustrating. I gotta believe, it's a sour taste yet again.
What is it with these guys? I mean, why do you think that the MSU is letting these teams back into these games? I mean, it seems like you said, they felt like they were in control. They were clearly I think, much more talented team than Purdue. Why do you think that they keep on letting this team back into games?
I just don't know if it comes down from the coaching or the players, but it seems like it was the same exact script. All week they talked about how this is something they don't want to let happen. It was a fluke last week. D'Antonio called it uncharacteristic of his team to let them back into the game. But now you're starting to wonder if this is a trend. They believe it could bleed out in Oregon. And granted, that was only a 9-point lead. That was,
it was also Oregon.
It was against Oregon.
Right.
It's a different game, completely different circumstance. And even last week, I thought, there's no way this is a trend. I just, can't compare the Oregon to Nebraska. But now, you were talking about two almost exact, blueprints almost, where they blew 2 back-to-back weeks, 3 touchdown leads. And, give them credit, they won the games, they're 2-0 in Big Ten play, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like that, but they are, and I guess that's all that matters. A win's a win. You survive in advance.
One thing that kind of let Purdue get back into the game a little bit, or even just kind of hang around before their big comeback, is that the defense gave up a lot of big plays again. And this is something, again, that we've seen from this defense before, is giving up, really big chunks of yardage at one time. I mean, I know we were watching the game together. We both kind of said, we don't think Curtis Drummond had a very good game. There were some missed tackles, some chances for interceptions that he didn't quite get. So, I mean, is this something that we have to worry about with the defense then?
I don't know. It's I guess truly becoming an issue, the fact that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
This is not the Michigan State defense that I guess is what they used to be. Now, granted, last week, through 3 quarters, you could say, wow, this looks like Michigan State defense. This is the Michigan State defense that we all, have grown to expect and know. Only 3 points in Nebraska in that whole game. Well, not this whole game, but that first 3 quarters. Right. And, this week it was completely opposite. 31 to Purdue. Give Purdue credit. They're a better team. They're improved from last year. They're not the 1-11 team that they were last year. They have players. They have some players. They got some guys like quarterback. Austin Apley's very much improved. I think he's a good quarterback that, is only a sophomore. Down the road could be pretty good in this league.
Right.
But still, 31 points to a Purdue team that is going to probably finish in the bottom half of that West Division, if not last. I think they'll be better than Illinois. Let's just say that. Right. But I mean, that's not good. It's not good for a team. Going against Indiana this week, who their quarterback went down with an injury. But if he's back, Indiana's offense is going to create some issues for this Michigan State defense. They don't improve, over this week.
Speaking of not good, we're for a win. We're kind of harping on quite a few of the negative topics that we saw, and Connor Cook. It wasn't all bad. His good is really good. Yeah. I mean, he's probably good for about 4 or 5 really NFL. How did he do that? Throws a game. And then the problem arises when it's 2 or 3 back foot falling away throws where you kind of wonder why would he throw that ball? And he had another one. He had one that was intercepted, but honestly, he had quite a few throws against the Purdue game on Saturday where he just didn't really look like the Connor Cook that we saw a season ago.
Yeah, there were some throws that got lucky on. Even one of his touchdowns pass to Josiah Price, the ball is tipped and the Purdue DB jumps a little bit higher. That's intercepted in the end zone. It takes 7 points off the board for Michigan State in that case. So I mean, there were throws obviously that you know, he could have made that could have been better. And, you know, there's throws that the one, you know, he finally did get intercepted that, you know, kind of created that snowball effect for Purdue in that comeback. But, you know, he did still throw for over 200 yards, I think 238 to be exact. He was 19 of 37, had 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, he made plays. He did make plays. But, you know, it's the inconsistency that, you know, early on in the season you didn't really see that maybe now they're getting the Big Ten play. It's starting to come out a little bit more.
So despite all these kind of things that we talked about on the negative side, MSU does get the 45-31 win against Purdue. They will now take on Indiana down in Bloomington, Indiana next Saturday. And we will be back later on in the week to take a look at it. I'm Geoff Preston.
I'm Robert Bondy.
We'll see you later in the week.